Hello, everyone, and welcome on back to some more Stationeers tutorials. I'm still a Gritty Crow, and today is all about getting our first plants planted and starting to grow some food for ourselves. That extra step towards self-sufficiency. Now, given the way we set up a few things, there are other ways to go about this, but I'm going to show you one common method. There are other methods. That we can go over that are you're able to set up depending on your situation. But as for here on Mars, a very general setup that can be used pretty much most places is what we're going to go over and talk about some of the challenges involved with it. But first things first, I still need to enclose this area just here. So I'm going to print up some walls here at our auto lathe. And I'm going to print not just any walls, not just those ugly iron walls we've got, but I'm going to put up some regular kit walls. There are all these other different types that some have different shapes and patterns and things. And I recommend checking them out, print a few of each of them when you have the excess of resources. But starting out for now and pretty much in general, you'll just use like kit wall is what I use most of the time. Some of these have better ratings for withstanding pressure or different things, but for most general purposes, you're fine with just the kit wall, and that's what I'm going to print up. I'm going to print up probably a stack of these. These stack up to 30, and then we'll go ahead and place down what we need just over here. So excuse me while I wait for some walls to print up. And there we go, 30 walls printed, just in time for the sun to have pretty much finished setting. Yay. Now these walls have, as you can see, just there, as per the other things we've tried to place, when you right click, you get all the little info, the little display, the ghost image of it setting up. And you can see we have 5 different variations. We have a composite window, we have a composite wall type 1, 2, 3, 4, and that is it. And you can see on that little ghost image here in front of us that there are little details on them. None of these details are functional, they're just aesthetics. So do keep that in mind as you're placing them. You can, make it look different and varied for different rooms and different things. You can paint these walls. We don't have paint right now, but you can. You can paint these walls, color coordinate your rooms. All those other walls you can print have different patterns. Some have different shapes on them. But yeah, you can absolutely do all of those wonderful little things. Now I'm gonna go ahead and set up some walls here to make this a little corridor for us. If I go ahead, yeah, I wanna use specific shapes just because I like how they look together, and I'm using these because they're facing inward now, and that's gonna give me a bit of a. I'm going to close that in. That's gonna give me a nicer look inside. So like we have these iron ones outside, and they have just that flat look just there. You can see through the window there. Just that flat kind of supported braced look on the interior. That's what it'll be facing outside. You can double layer these so you can have the nice stuff outside and inside. It's just more resource intensive. But for now, I want to see the pretty stuff inside because a cool interior to my base is primarily what I want to be looking at. Because honestly, I don't know how much I'm going to be looking at the outside. But I'm going to go ahead and place a couple walls there like that, and I'm going to place a wall here like that. Also, I should get these walls onto the roof if I set the orientation correctly. There we go. And those are going to be my standard walls for this room. Now, this room is going to have some overhead windows. Actually trying to decide how many windows I want. I think I'm going to bring this over one more. This little plane right here is going to be a hallway when we eventually expand this area. I'm just leaving it there, just placing things down. But I want this room 3 by 3. Doesn't need it to be 3 by 3, but I'm trying to build all the rooms the same size. So might as well give that little bit of extra forethought. With those down, I want to say I can go... They're like, ooh, no, that's not the same orientation as those. Uh-oh. Can I have that, please? You can take these plastic sheets, and it takes 2 plastic sheets per Composite wall. Okay, that's what I'm doing. That's okay. Understood me. Give me this back. I can go like that. There we go. And then this back plane here, I'm gonna go composite windows because I need that sunlight for my plants. I don't I don't need the sunlight for the plants, but the configuration we're setting up is going to use sunlight for plants. We have grow lights and things that'll allow us to grow without the need of sun. So if we wanted to dig down into the planet and build an underground base or into the side of a mountain or something, we can do that. We don't need the access to the sun. It's just that we're here on the surface, might as well use said access to the sun. I'm going to go ahead and slap all of these bad boys in. I brought a little connection for the power just there. Oh, I gotta put a roof over here. Slap, 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 slap. Here we go, here we go. I'm gonna leave the windows aren't going to seal up until I throw the glass in them, so we're still able to pass through these just for now. Eventually we won't be, but for now, we can. Once we throw that glass in there, be a different story though. Get that, and then I need to place in my I want to say type 1 here. Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, that is in fact what it is I am wanting. Throw those in. I can seal these in. Perfect. And then swap out my plastic sheets for our sheets of glass. Come over here. We can start closing in these windows. I'm going to leave one window open so I can step outside and then I'll close that window. We'll leave that one there on the end open. And all these other windows are now sealed up except this one, meaning this whole compartment and this partial little hallway here are all ready to go. Well, quote unquote, ready to go. And I can go ahead, step out, seal it up, and now that's a completely sealed area. Yeah, let me up. There we go. And with that completely sealed area, it has the atmosphere of Mars in it. And Mars is comprised of carbon dioxide, nitrogen, oxygen, and pollutant. All things our base is already flooded with. So instead of throwing in like a passive vent and then an active vent out here to draw that area to vacuum, I'm not too fussed about the volume of air that's in there mixing with the volume of air in my base because it's primarily stuff I want. I want the carbon dioxide. I don't particularly want the nitrogen, but I want the oxygen, the little that's in there. And the pollutant, well, I already have pollutant in the base, and we're going to have to deal with that here in just a moment anyways. So let's do that, right? I believe I have pretty much everything that I'm going to need for this next leg of the expansion, quote unquote. So let's go ahead and step on inside. Ah, the great indoors where I can open my helmet. Let's move this canister of fuel over to there. Let's grab this hydroponic supplies, which we're going to be using here shortly. Toss you right there. And I should be free to remove this this wall here. I'm only going to remove this one because this is supposed to be its own isolated room. So I'm going to remove this middle panel here. Now with everything sealed up, my air should equalize to over there. I should drop down to just below half because that room is a 3x3. This is a 3x3 with one extra, but a 3x3 room with the hallway in between. So I should drop down to just below half. I'm at 69 kilopascals now, so I should be just around 34-ish kilopascals once I open this. And let's check it out. Grab our crowbar. We can rip the iron sheet out of here. And there's the air rushing, looking like it's going outside, but that's just the visualization part of that particle effects. And is it slow? It is slowing down. 35, 34. Yes, 33. Okay, all right. Rounding errors, maybe? I don't know. Who knows? Let's go ahead and open that off. Combine those iron sheets, iron walls. Yes. Ha 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 ha. We've reached equilibrium with the room over here. Perfect. Absolutely freaking wonderful. You love to see it. Oh, now we have a nicer looking room. And I do have some spare walls, should I so choose. I can throw these down. I can use, more or less whatever I want here. So if I wanted to go like that, grab some plastic sheets, I can do that, and then have a nicer looking room. Alternatively, I can throw these onto the floor. I like a different wall type for my floors, but I can use these as flooring as well. Just it's flooring is usually the last thing you do because typically you're running pipes and wires along the floor somehow, like to connect up to when we enclose our workshop area or the forge area and do all that stuff. Typically, it's the last thing you do is throw in the floorings, but it's something you can do. Use the walls for it. Don't go looking for floor. There is a floor, but it's like a grated iron floor thing. Doesn't look the nicest, but it works. It's functional. So yeah, I thought I had extra plastic sheets in here. Ah, there you are. Sweet. Yeah, toss those there. And I brought in some extra passive vents for a special little reason. And that's going to be evident here in just a moment. Once the sun starts coming up and it starts hitting all of our windows here, windows generate heat inside of your base. So all these windows are slowly adding heat inside of our base. Over time, it's going to build up. It's going to get too hot for plants and eventually too hot for our stationeer that we are going to start taking damage and eventually, get cooked alive inside of our base. Now, this all happens slowly over time with these windows. So it's not going to be like immediate. It'll take several days, several days here on Mars, but it will happen. So keep that in mind when you're putting in windows. You're going to need a way to regulate the heat. Now, we can regulate the heat with something we start with being this little box right here, portable air conditioning package. It's got its own battery in there. That battery is already charged, so if you're having other power woes, you can just, yank the battery out of there. But yeah, we have a portable aircon, or I have already printed up a spare atmospherics kit to throw in an air conditioning should I so choose. So I can toss it here. That's why that power's right there. And I can build that up to be an air conditioning for this whole base. And the size of this base really only is going to need the one AC. And here on Mars, you're not going to need a whole lot more than that. But we will want a way to regulate the temperature in our base because this isn't going to be as simple as just slapping a plant in our little grow plots, which we'll go ahead and start setting up. We have 5 hydroponic trays we start with. I'm just going to bring them over here. I'm only going to set up, we'll set up those, we'll set up all 5. We'll do that. We'll do that right there. Yes, see, I'm getting sun here. There's nothing planted. I don't have any water in those hydroponic trays. Yes, you need water, but I do have liquid pipe kits. So if I grab these, I'm only going to connect up this set of 3 for now. So I'm going to go there, there. I'm going to make a little T here. And then I'm not going to connect this set. I will drop my pipes there, but I'm not going to connect them. So those are there. And because we have our water tank set up here, I could take this water tank, move it over there, but I'd have to move like this setup. But I have to kind of give it its own ice crusher if I was really going to do that because I don't want to run that many water pipes all across the base just to get to that. And that's not optimally placed. I could place my hydroponics in that room, but I like a dedicated room for my hydroponics. You may not care. But as for me, I do like having a dedicated room because you can min-max the growth of all your plants. And what I mean by min-maxing it is if I've got 3 little seeds here, you see we start with potatoes, wheat, and soybeans. So if I hit F1 to bring up our Stationpedia, go ahead and pause the game because there's a lot of information here to internalize. There's an organics and food down here. You can click on this and go through everything. You can see a bunch of the different things you can grow: tomatoes, blueberries, strawberries, all these lilies and flowers and watermelons and potatoes and cocoa and wheat, sugarcane, pumpkins, mushrooms, all kinds of things you can grow. Now, in each thing will yield different stuff. So for us, what I'm going to start with is potatoes because, we are Mark Watney. We are going to science the crap out of this. But here you go. You can click on potatoes. You can get all the information on it. So potatoes are simple, fast-growing crop, can keep stationery alive in emergencies. They're also delicious. You can actually cook later in a machine. So air quotes cook. You can make French fries. That's going to be a goal for us. But potatoes, and you can see growth parameters down here. Yeah, you get all the information for minimum growth, necessary for growth, a minimum temperature. You have an ideal range. So if we look at temps here, so our minimum growth range, I have to at least be 0 degrees Celsius or higher, but I can't go over 50 degrees Celsius. Get outside of that range, the plants are going to start taking damage and eventually die. Our crop will fail. We're going to get nothing out of it, and we've lost the seed for that plant. We cannot recover it. There's an ideal growth range, 20 degrees Celsius to 30 degrees Celsius. We have ideal and minimum growth pressures, light per day, darkness per day, all this stuff to min-max the growth of your plants. Now, for us right now, we're not making a dedicated room. We're not trying to gear the atmosphere specifically to growing one plant because, well, we can grow plants in the air we breathe currently. I just need the carbon dioxide for potatoes, and that is something we can most certainly do. But there's a problem with our base, and that is that stuff right there, that yellow symbol, the the pollutant that is in our base. We want to get rid of that. We can build filtration kits. We can connect those filtration kits to pipe networks with passive vents that are just on the walls to pull the air around out of the base, filter it, get out what we don't want, then put it back into the base. We can do all that, or you start with a very handy piece of equipment. If I go over here, it is, of course, it is buried behind a box of cereal bars. This portable scrubber package. I'm going to go ahead and grab this. I'm going to bring it over here, and we're going to look at what's in it. We have a portable scrubber, a battery, filter for pollutant, and a filter for volatile. We're going to go ahead and pull all of these lovely things out of here. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Toss you and toss you. Get this out of my hand. Now, you can grab your portable scrubber kit, just holding it in your hand. Hold right click, you'll construct it, it'll plop down in front of you, and you've got all this fancy little things on it. We've got a gauge, we've got a spot for our battery, an on-off switch, and some spots for filters in the back, as well as a lever on the side. Do not pull this lever while it is in your base. I mean, I can do it right now. It doesn't do anything for me right now. It won't do anything for you right now if you've just set it up. But if you start running this, that is the release lever. That's going to dump all of the stuff that this is sucked up back into whatever environment this is in. So right now, it would just dump it back into our base. And what we're going to do is filter out the pollutant, because pollutants will damage our crops. Not at the concentration I currently have it in my base, but it can if it builds up more, and it's just not a good idea to have that stuff floating around your base. And, well, I have the capabilities of filtering it out. I can click that on. You can hear it faintly humming. Yeah. And I can even grab my tablet and kind of see what's happening. That pollutant is not near me. We can see that pollutant's in there. It's going up. So if I walk over here, you can see there's still pollutant over in this corner of the base. It's dropping because the air is circulating in our base now, because that's trying to draw it in, filter out the stuff, and then it just dumps the rest of the air out. So there's a little bit of flow to air in here right now. So it's sucking up all of that pollutant from around our base and is slowly gathering it up. Now, like I said, at the concentrations the pollutants in, it's not going to damage my plants. So we're just going to continue building our hydroponic setup. And that's going to involve this bad boy, the liquid utility kit, liquid pipe utility kit, just like the utility kit we built to put our air tank in there to get it refilled. Same concept for the liquid one. It's got tanks, so a single tank or a double tank. We'd need 2 utility kits to build. And then the liquid tank storage thing. We can go ahead and just place it over here. Turns yellow. That means it connects to its existing network. And drop it down. And the reason I'm using this is because we have this little insulated canister package that has a canister of water with 12 liters of water in it, no less. I'm going to grab that. I'm going to plop it right in there. You see that it said 12 liters. Now it says 0 in that little pop-up box just there in the right center of the screen. And it's now all gone into here. So I take out my tablet once more, turn it on. I can see there's my water. Some of it's turning into steam just because of the pressure within the pipe network is lower than it really should be to keep all of our liquid as liquid water, but it's fine. At more or less 12 liters of water, if we go back to our Stationpedia, we can see that one potato plant is going to suck up 0.432 moles of water per hour. That's per real life hour, not in-game hour. That's per real life hour. So I'm good for a while. Plus, I can grab that thing. I can set it over here and then refill it using a liquid volume pump or other mechanisms. Or I could just take this, like I said, and go set it up over there, and I'd be good for a long time. And with this 12 liters, I'm still good for a long time. Now, I'm only going to plant one potato right now. Go ahead and pop it in. Drop my 2 extra seeds, just right here is fine. And take a look at our plant. We can see hydroponics tray has a potato in it. I can hold C to clear the potato. That just means I'm going to rip it back out. I should get the seed back for that. And we can see the potato is growing poorly towards fruiting. Now, why is it growing poorly? Well, I tap F1. We can kind of look at the parameters and things we got here. I am just above the minimal grow pressure, but I'm below the ideal by a fair little bit. But good for us, we have oxide. So I'm going to drop and sublimate a set of oxide here. It's going to push around. It's going to make this room a little colder. And our ideal grow temperature, the minimum ideal, was 20 degrees centigrade. We're still close to that. We're down to 15 now. Probably going to hit up like 14, 13 potentially. But that's going to come back up as heat is convected through these throughout the day. And now you can see that the pressure has come up closer to that minimal ideal. The potato is now thriving towards fruiting, meaning it is growing at its full growth speed. And it is now telling me the potato is in darkness. The potato does need a bit of darkness throughout the day. Always reference your Stationpedia for kind of the growth parameters again. Right there, growth parameters. Always references to just make sure you got what you want in here. So we can see all that. We can tell the potato is going to take 50 minutes and 1 second to hunger caution to grow to full maturity. There is the thriving towards fruiting, then there's seeding. So we'll have this become fruit where it has potatoes that I can pick out of the ground, and then it will go to seeding where I can actually get a seed back from these and start building up a stockpile of potato seeds. So I'm going to wait till this one plant gets through its full maturity, which is what I like. I like to have one full growth cycle of a single thing happen before I start just planting away all of my seeds. Because if something happens, if I accidentally expose this to the atmosphere or something, it's going to kill off the plants. I'm not going to get anything back to it. So I like to have a safety net of seeds just in case. So that is it. We have set up a basic hydroponics here. We're using the sun to grow. There are other ways to do this. Like I said, I can use some sensor kits and some logic to tell a grow light when to turn off and turn on. I believe we started with, you start with a kit grow light. You see there's a power and data. We can manually turn on and off this grow light if we wanted. Like I said, we can use logic to turn it off and on when it detects the sun is in the sky. So if we're living underground or in the side of a mountain, we can kind of get it to automatically do that. Or if we were at the MIP stage, we can just program these to turn on and off on either a timer or given any sort of parameters we wanted them to, really turn on and off. And usually just a timer is best. But yeah, that is it. We've got our first plant in. We've got this room enclosed. We've scrubbed all of that pollutant that we've spilt into our base out of here. Got water over there. And I should probably have a drink, shouldn't I? 1% hydration. 0% hydration. I'll start taking health damage. If you ever wonder what happens when you hit 0%, on either one of those, you just start taking health damage, which isn't ideal, but health points are a resource. They should be used, and the only one that matters is the last one. But that's a whole thing for a different day. For now, we've got our plant in. It is growing. It is thriving towards fruiting as we are thriving here on Mars. And that is it for this. So I hope this was useful in seeing how to set up a basic little hydroponics area. All you really need to do is get your trays down, get a pipe network hooked up to them, add some water to said network, either with your big tank over there or with this tank, and make sure it has access to sunlight somehow, some way. Windows on your base, fine way to do it. Using the grow light, either manually turning it off or setting it up to turn on and off automatically via one of several ways. We will go over how to set it up differently in another episode. But for now, this is just the down and dirty, how to start growing your food on Mars. So, you know how to find your stuff in the Stationpedia. Just search it up or click through the menus. Set down your hydroponics. Make sure you've got light. Make sure you're regulating the gases that are in your base. So go ahead and turn that off. Make sure you're regulating the temperature either with this air conditioning unit or your portable air conditioning unit. Currently, I don't need to because, well, I'm going to have several days before I reach a temperature where these are no longer, well, I mean, they're no longer in their ideal right now. It's got to get to 20 degrees centigrade and then 30 degrees centigrade and then over 30 degrees centigrade. I'm back out of the ideal. So I've got time. Throughout the day, it'll probably add 1, maybe 2 degrees in my base. But since I'm not running any equipment in my base, i.e., I'm not running any, well, that's not on right now. If that was on, all your equipment does put out a little bit of heat. So air cons, your filtration units, if I was using my printers inside, those would all put out a little bit of heat. So those would also affect it. And my water tank is acting as a thermal battery as well, because it is not in an insulated tank, meaning it's just sort of, equalizing itself with the local temperature in the environment. That's what these pipes are also doing. You can see that they're radiating 0.4 or 0.049 megajoules worth of millijoules, not megajoules, that's a lowercase m greedy, millijoules worth of heat. So you can see these are radiating out, meaning they're trying to equalize with the environment here. So this is acting as a very bad, but a thermal battery. It's a bad thermal battery, but it is a thermal battery. But I'm droning on. I'm repeating myself. I should stop. Wrap it up here. Thank you all for watching. I hope this was useful some way, some form. And in the next one, I'm going to address these little flashing things up here in the corner. So our little shower symbol, our little sad face symbol. Not so much these ones. You can tell what those are. We've seen them before. But these other two ones that are flashing, been waiting on those to build up. But we'll talk about those next time. And until then, remember everyone to stay safe out there.